Special greetings to my dear friends, the young students sitting in the back. It's always good to interact with young minds because young minds are the curious minds, and any time is a good time to interact with young minds. Talking about young minds, I am also sanguine that a hungry man is an angry man. So I will not be standing between you and lunch for long. I'll do the mandatory time stipulation and ensure and I request my panelists to kindly abide by it. At the outset, let me extend my compliments and thanks to General Kushwaha and his team for having organized this wonderful summit, which is so very important and so very relevant at today's time. I must also extend a hearty thanks to all the industry partners as also the eminent speakers who have shared their thoughts. And I have just been from the exhibition. It was an eye-opener in some aspects, and I'm sure all those who have witnessed it must be inquisitive enough to take some leaf from wherever you find the thing interesting. And I must also thank the young students who have voluntarily and magnanimously shared their wonderful campus with us so that we could meet in such a conducive environment. So coming back to the topic of the day for this panel, you would have heard so many eminent speakers since yesterday, and the topics ranged from basics to very complex. But what emerged out of all that? Something very simple, and that is that this technology, whatever you may call it, UAV, drones, unmanned system, in whichever form you may like to address and see the application, it is here to stay. Today, General Kandhare, in his opening address, he remarked in the vertical spectrum, he very lucidly elucidated that right from satellites to even underwater, the applications range far and wide. And if you look at the horizontal spectrum, it almost covers all 360 degrees. It may have started as a small military applications, but by now you would have all realized that it has progressed into various domains in the civilian sector. And speaking of complexities, it may be as complex as weaponized systems in the military applications to say cartographic systems which are very complex and very time consuming, down to the very simple and the mundane things that you all are used to, where these drones are used to cover the social events or the marriage parties. So what emerges in that is it will only grow from this moment onwards, and it will grow exponentially. It will not be in the pace that we saw in the past decade. It will go in leaps and bounds. Another aspect that we must keep in mind, that in our enthusiasm to adopt new technology, which is the right thing, we must do, otherwise we'll be left behind. What invariably happens is, in order to get conversant and adopt new technologies, we tend to neglect and totally lose out on the existing skills. Let me give you a very simple example to just elucidate this point. Way back in 80s when I was a young engineering student, the induction of simple pocket calculators was a game changer for us. Why? Because thus far we were used to log tables. I am very sure most of you sitting behind will not even know what is a log table. Forget using it. It was used for basic multiplications in the scientific problems. Does it mean that we should continue with log tables? Definitely no. We must have a fallback mechanism, and we are also aware happenings of last week, or rather 2 days back, when somebody in the West tried to adopt a decade-old technology of pager. The consequences of operation under the belt was equally devastating. So what is the point? The point is, yes, we have to do the capability building, we have to adopt new technology, we have to keep pace with it, how do you ensure that if we not look back on the contemporary technologies and we have to lose sight of it? The key answer is sustainability. Capability building and sustainability go hand in hand, and it has to be simultaneous. Another another side of the coin of sustainability is deniability. So if you have to work through it, you have to have it all the times, and it should not be denied to you. Denial could be in two forms. It could be, say, by default, some supply chain problem, something going amiss, some low availability status, whatever. It could also be by design, with the ill intentions of the enemical forces, be it outside the country or be it within the country. It could be in the form of, say, sanctions, IPR restrictions. So we have to keep in mind sustainability. And how does one obtain sustainability? A very simple but a very difficult answer is reliability, self-reliance. And that importance has also been felt by the organizing committee, and that's why it's one of the three key pillars. It is said, innovate, integrate, and indigenize. So we cannot leave this topic if we talk of new technologies, and to take this topic of indigenization forward so that this technology is always available to us, we have a panel of very eminent speakers who come of diverse background. We have Colonel Manik, who is also associated with MOD, so he is well clued up with the policies, regulations, and the process of imbibing new technology. We have Wing Commander Manohar, who has 15 years of experience in Indian Air Force with unmanned systems. And when he crossed the hedge, he is now a programmer in this domain. So he'll be able to compare and contrast by seeing the lawn from both sides. And we have a hardcore inventor in Dr. Shankar, who has been in this domain as pure inventor. More about him we'll talk later. So I think I should not delay it any further. I should hand over the mic to our panelists. What we'll do is we'll go one by one, and I think 10 to 12 minutes per speaker would be enough, and we'll spare some few minutes for the question and answers in the end. So to begin with, I think we'll start with Colonel Manik. A few words about him. He's been an AD officer, that is Air Defense Officer, for 3 decades. And as I mentioned, he has been working with MOD, and he has been involved in promoting indigenization under the DAP 2020. He has overseen several projects in the Department of Defense Production and also worked with several other ministries. He is well versed with the capital and revenue procurement, that is, the budgeting is the key aspect of everything. And he has also been keeping himself abreast with the technological developments. So I now hand over the mic to Colonel Manik, and let's start with the, please, all means.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chairman, Trade Promotion Council, GCI, and the DG for inviting me for today's session. Well, the stated policy of the Government of India is to make Bharat a global drone hub by 2030. And what it means, I was heading the Aerospace System Division in the Department of Defense Production for 3 years. And when we talk of indigenization, I think we have to go a step further. We have to talk of technological Atmanirbharta. We talk of technological self-reliance. Now, as the last 2 days, you've been hearing drone applications across various sectors: homeland security, defense, commercial, agriculture. But technology is the key. We'll have a regulatory session, which I'll be giving a talk. So there is some overlap in that, but so because of paucity of time, I'll just stick to the. So when I see indigenization, I see it with the mirror of technological self-reliance. We've been known as a nation of aggregation and assembly. Even today, a large number of the drone manufacturers, either they are channel partners for foreign companies, or they're getting products from outside somehow and just giving it to us. There's a lack of leadership, ownership, collaboration, as I see it in the drone industry as on date. And I would really request the chairman, Jal Khushwa, and DG, TCPSI. In fact, when Sanjay came to me 3 months back in my office in the MOD, so we, and if you see what the theme is, innovate and indigenize. So indigenize means what? Indigenize means something which is coming from a foreign source and you're trying to do something. But I think Bharat, is the intellectual capital of the world.